form. I'm going to try to see if I can automate that on a schedule so that every day or every 2 days or something, it can, or at least once a week it can back up. But oh yeah, I can do that with SyncBack. Oh, I'm thinking, I can do that with SyncBack. SyncBack will do it too, I think. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking to see how I can automate that for him. Maybe I can do that somehow.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never heard of that. That's cool. Thanks a lot, Corey. That's good. Another good tip, man. You're full of good tips.
Thanks. I try. Let's see what else. We had some basic virus anti-spyware removal. Not one of the Win 2000 anti-spyware, 2012, whatever one of those come in.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple malware by super anti-spyware on that. Fixed that pretty quick. And then I ran a couple scans on it. Combo fix, and I ran that other tool I was telling you about before, the Windows thing, to make sure all the services and everything, they were all pretty good, running good.
You were talking about people not backing up. I had a customer bring a laptop in, and I had just put a brand new hard drive in this 4 months ago, and I don't know. I usually make a DVD or something of their pictures and stuff. When I back them up and stuff and put them on their new hard drive. For some reason, I didn't for her, and that's my fault. But she gives it to me, and she thinks, well, first of all, they're two girls, and they both work at the same bank, and they both give me their laptops at the same time. They're like, we have this virus, and they printed out something off of the internet, and they were sure they had this virus because there was a picture of a black and white screen with all these letters on it, and basically what it was the menu, the boot menu that goes into safe mode.
Yep.
Both of them kept getting to that menu, so they thought that was the virus they both had. Well, the one I figured out was a power problem on that laptop. Both their battery was bad, and I tested their power supply, and it wasn't getting a constant 19 volts. It would drop off and then come back and drop off and come back. So I think that was shutting her computer down, because she said it would just lock up, and then they couldn't do nothing. They'd have to reboot it by holding the power button down. So I think that, she had a couple bad sectors in the hard drive just from the hard shutdowns. I think was mostly that. Yeah. And then but once I got those fixed up, I couldn't replicate the problem when I put a different power supply on it. So I think that was the problem with hers. And then the other one, the new hard drive was bad already. Western Digital 4-month-old hard drive. But she still hadn't, and I told her when I gave it back to her, I go, make sure you do a backup because everything's there, but you don't want to lose it again. And she hadn't done a backup, so we got it off of there.
That was good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess people need. It's not nice to say, I guess, but some people, they need that like one time when they have to send it out to somebody that like if it gets to that point, and they go, oh, I should, do you want to spend $800 send it to Scott Moulton or something? And not that. I mean, I had a customer a couple months ago. He had a bunch of photos and a bunch of things. I mean, it was great that there are services like that. I mean, it was great. Got to drive back to him and everything. It was a great experience. But if he had backed up, I mean, he wouldn't have, the hard drive, we could have put a new hard drive in there for him, and that would have been that. But like some people now, he's like, oh, back up. Now he's on 4 hard drives. He's going back and these up every day.
Hopefully,
some people need that scare, I guess.
And she goes, well, I didn't think I needed to back up. I had a new hard drive. Well, you probably set it down maybe on the table hard again, and that's why it's doing that. I don't. The laptop does have a chunk out of the corner of it that I don't remember being missing before. Maybe it was, I don't know. But she said she didn't do nothing. It just one day was like this, and I did get it to boot, and it was just like I just watched this hard drive degrade in front of me. At first, it wouldn't boot in regular, but I could get into safe mode and it would like lock up, and then after that it wouldn't boot to safe mode. And now if I even put a restore disk in there, it blue screens or freezes up, one of the two. I can't get it to do. I'm not sure. Now should a say if I put a Bart's PE disk, have you ever used Bart's PE?
Yep.
If I have no hard drive in that computer, would it boot to a Bart's PE disk? You know?
I don't I don't I don't think because that has to load. I think that loads files like it kind of does like caching onto. I don't think that will. I don't. I'm like 90% sure that it's not gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work because it. I think it loads files to the hard drive, like to the drive, like kind of like when you're caching. Like when you run like the Windows set. When you get like run like a Windows setup, how it gets like so far, and then it will say no hard drive detected, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, because I get the same thing whether the hard drive's in or out. On a Bart's, it blue screens in there,
Well,
and
on the BART PE, is this XP Windows? Like what BART PE is it? So it's an XP BART PE. It's like an older BART PE disk, and one of the older.
yeah, it's an older one. It's a Windows 7 machine, but
do you have the driver packs for BART for the AHCI mode? There's or did you go on the BIOS and see what the hard drive controller is set to? Because it could be set if it's in AHCI, which if it's Windows 7, if you set that back to maybe if you can't even set the hard drive controller to ID mode, maybe then try the BART P disk or
right. I didn't think about that.
Or just pop. Yeah, I mean that it could be that it could be something simple as that. I mean I have a new I use I made one of those Windows 7. It's like a Windows 7 to repair. I don't know. It's Windows.
Windows 7 repaired, like startup disk kind of thing.
No, but it has all programs. It has like all these programs. It was on one of these. It was like a guide. It was I don't know, it was a life hacker a while ago. It was a guide that had to make a bootable disk and you could load drivers. So I went to driver packs and took the 64 and the x86 drivers for Windows 7, and then I integrated all those into the Windows 7. It's kind of like the ultimate boot CD for Windows, but it's Windows 7. It's a Windows 7 disk with the Windows 7 shell. But I loaded all the drivers for a lot of the known hardware on those, on the two disks. So I have an x86 disk and an x64 disk. So, not that it really should matter anyway, because if it's Windows 7, it's Windows 7 matter. I guess I did it just because I could that day. I had the drivers. I'm into drivers.
Don't hurt to have one more tool, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm always into getting drivers and keeping everything. Oh, that's another thing I just thought of. Oh, cool, we're on that topic. On driver packs, you can download all the drivers and make folders up. Like you can take like all the Windows 7 or the Windows, XP, you can make folders and extract them all. So you can have and if you don't really know what it is, you can have search all the folders. But there's a program. I think it was D driver pack installer or something. It was on a lot of those videos a while ago. One of his videos on the Better PC Tech. But it was I took that and I upgraded that. It was upgraded that to even use the newer. It's pretty cool because when you stick the disk, or I have it on a USB stick, and I think I have it on a hard drive all over the place with drivers. But anyway, you run this and it has like a web page comes up and you can check, like it scans for drivers, and it'll tell you like versus what's new as far as what you have in the drivers, and it will only update what it needs to update. So, and it tells you this is updated this driver, but it's cool because you have all the drivers there. So of course, when you're somewhere, if they have like just slow internet or something, I always bring that with me. So I have that ready to go as far as, if there's a driver. And I had one guy where his Ethernet was dropping. That's when his Ethernet kept drop. It would drop like he'd be on the internet, he'd be on YouTube, and it would just drop. YouTube, or if he was browsing the internet, because I was like, that's weird. Like, I've heard of cable dropping and everything, but I mean, it would do it like every 5, 10 seconds, every 20 seconds or something. You watch a clip, it was just like you couldn't do anything.
For how long? Just for a second?
Yeah, a couple seconds, but it was constant. I mean, it would do it like you couldn't do it. It wasn't like it was 10 minutes later it was fine. The speed tests were fine and everything else. But you updated the. I was like, well, the Ethernet driver. He had a Realtek on board. It's all popular with some Realtek, but the driver was this was an i5, so it wasn't an old machine, but the driver was you know, probably installed with the motherboard. See, that's one thing I never do when I build a machine. I never use the discs that come with the boards. I always go to the manufacturer and get all the latest drivers. I take those CDs and I throw them in the garbage. I go right, if you know, if it's an Asus or Gigabyte, I'll go all get the latest drivers, or I use these driver pack these things now, because they're always, I mean, they're always every couple, you know, month or two, they're always updating the driver. So those driver discs, I mean, they could be months old by the time you know they get them, or whenever they made those discs. That's one of my number one things.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There's no point in starting out with old drivers if there's newer ones out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know how many things. I mean, I'm always like looking, you know, always looking at this, and always looking at, like, NVIDIA just came out with new drivers yesterday for the GeForce. They came out with new drivers, 295 driver 295 now. So I got those, and I keep a driver or two behind just in case you hear about something coming out if there's some real major problem. So I'm not, you know, I have to keep the driver from at least the last, you know, one or two behind. So
yeah.
But that Realtek, they're always coming out with the Realtek HD audio. That thing comes out like every month. You like clockwork. I mean, that thing turned around as a new driver. So it's like, well, I guess I'll get it. I haven't heard anything bad. So yeah, for the audio. So what else? I've also been into too. I don't know if you're in like customizations for people, but I've also been like into getting like these reg files for Windows 7 as far as customizing like the way things look like. For certain people, you know, certain people want like some kind of, like, they want certain icons, or they want the desktop a certain way. So what I've been doing is making some reg tweak files that I can, you know, especially, or like when I do custom installs, like kind of like Ninite, but for myself, for my own program, if there's other programs that, or if Ninite's not working, I'll just, you know, run a custom install on the machine, you know, when I'm done installing Windows, run some. There's something called SFX Maker that will make silent installers out of most the regular setup files. So long as it doesn't have any toolbars, or if you know the switches, there's a program called PE some unpacker that will get you the switches for most installers. So as long as you get the, you know, it's like Skype has an MSI package, so it's Q/Q/B for the switches. So you can just install that for somebody. It's just nice to be able to just run through those things, you know, yourself.
I cut out for a second there. No, the SFX Maker does what? What does that do? What'd you say?
That will like help you make silent installers out of executable files. Like, so say take a program like Skype, or you know, like almost anything. I mean, anything you could think of, you know, Adobe or Foxit or something else. You can, and what I do is, if you want to look for a lot of these programs, like Foxit has an MSI, so that's a Microsoft, you know, install package. So easy to make that to a self-installing package with either, you know, the /Q/B switch, or go into SFX Maker and make your own silent installer, so that, you know, you can just let a bunch of those things fly. I mean, on a machine, so kind of like your own Ninite, but you have it on your own. My own drive. I have a folder called Silent Installers, and I have a batch file and I have one, I labeled them. Like, I have one that does the Windows Live Movie Maker, that doesn't install the toolbars like the MSN toolbar, like not MSN, but it's the Windows Live, the sign-in assistant doesn't install all that. So I got all the switches, so I can just, you know, run it, walk away, and do something else. You know what, that I know what it does because I've ran it on, you know, a bunch of machines and tested it. So I mean, I have, you know, a batch file. One will install Chrome, one will install Firefox. We'll do kind of like my own midnight on hard drive, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, nice, man.
Being that I like to do things that, you know, are unattended as much as possible, because it helps me, you know, if I need, as long as I can get the switches and I verify that they work. So I'm all for anything that's unattended, and you know, obviously that works. A cool thing for us, that, you know, well, you know, Windows 8, I guess we're supposed to come out. I was supposed to come out yesterday. One of the beta Windows 8 was supposed to come out yesterday, or I didn't hear
really? I missed that.
But the cool thing for blind people that's coming out is it's going to have a talking install, like on the Mac. If I would know, but on the Mac, you just hit Command F5, and as soon as the installer starts, it starts talking. So I love it. I do a couple Mac installs the last couple of weeks too of Lion, and that's, hey, when people call, can you do a Mac reinstall? Yeah, it's great, man. I pop the disk in, or pop the USB stick or the DVD in, Command F5 in, and it starts talking right away. It's like I don't need a silent install for that, I can just, I can talk with